the end. It actually came into the 1st of October when I finished the 3rd book, but I managed to finish it within the brackets-ish. The first book I read was A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir, the 3rd in an Ember in the Ashes series. This book was the one that actually introduced me to the fact that there's a 4th book in this series and that it's not a trilogy as I've been calling it. So yeah, that was pretty exciting. So A Reaper at the Gates is the 3rd installment in this series, and it basically spins everything on its head. I mean, I saw from A Torch Against the Night, which is the 2nd book, that things were going to go off on a tangent that I did not see coming, and there were little things like jinns and soul catchers and all these things that have been mentioned existing in the world in An Ember in the Ashes, but still I didn't see it coming the way that it has come. So obviously I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it basically follows the lives of our 3 main characters, which is Leia, Helene, and Elias, and basically the adventures that they are going on in their own lives, but all of them are connected from the 1st book. We get a very, very, very good insight into the 3 main characters of this series. I mean, obviously you get to know them throughout the first 2 books, but I feel like this just shows a lot more of their heart, a lot more of their internal struggle, a lot more of their own battles and challenges that they are dealing with separately rather than together, as we have seen them, not always, but a lot in the previous book. And I have so many feels for them, and just things are falling apart, but it's definitely, you know, the way it's supposed to be because it's leading up to the 4th and final book, you know, the ultimate epic climax of the series. So, you know, tension is high, things are just going in ways that you're just like, how is this ever going to work for anyone? How is anything good ever going to happen ever? And then it's just a very big roller coaster of a ride. I still have no idea where this series is going to go, how it's going to evolve, because it has evolved so much from the 1st book. Needless to say, but in case you're wondering, I gave A Reaper at the Gates 5 big whopping stars, and I do think it's my favorite in the series, although to be fair, I absolutely love this entire series. All 3 books have just been so great. The 2nd book that I read in September was Heartless by Marissa Mayer. Now, to me, Marissa Mayer is the queen of retellings, all because of the Lunar Chronicles, where she completely flipped so many known fairy tales on their head and unraveled them, and she's another tangent spinner where you're just like, how did you get that from this? So this is Heartless, and it's the story, I guess maybe not so much a retelling, but a reimagining of how Catherine, the Queen of Hearts, becomes the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland. However, this definitely did not excite me, or I didn't love it as much as I loved the Lunar Chronicles, but I mean, maybe nothing can compare to the Lunar Chronicles. It was nice to see Catherine's life before she becomes the queen, and like what leads her to become the psychotic, off with her head queen woman, and I really loved the beginning of this book. I mean, I was all in, my heart was melting, so many things were happening. I had the hope, even though you know she's going to become the Queen of Hearts, so what are you hoping for? But I still had the hope. I think for me what it was that made me not love it as much is that perhaps it felt like it was a bit too long. Like, I actually started comparing it to like villain stories that I do love. And there's villain stories that I think work so wonderfully well, and that is Marissa Mayer's Fairest. So I love her Fairest story, where she shows us how the villain in the Lunar Chronicles becomes the villain and what her life is like, and it's a very thin book, where I'll show you. So yeah, as you can see, Fairest is very, very thin. I mean, I think it is 222 pages, and honestly, you get all you need. You get all the angst, you get all the pain, you get all the horror, you get all the love, you get all the understanding of this epic villain and what has twisted them into the way that they are, and it's this. Another villain story that I absolutely love of how the villain became the villain is Leigh Bardugo's retelling or reimagining of how Ursula becomes Ursula in The Language of Thorns. Now, note how short The Language of Thorns is. It actually consists of more than that story. I think the Ursula's story is this thick, called When Water Sang Fire. It's amazing. Again, it gives us all the angst, all the hype, everything about the villain in this many pages, and I love it, and it will stick with me forever, and I'm traumatized by it. So I think that with Heartless, compared to the length of these, this was just too long. I just needed to taste what had led her to become the villain. So I really liked it, I really enjoyed it. It was so great to see some familiar things like the Cheshire Cat and just the world itself, because Wonderland is topsy-turvy. It was fun to meet new characters that were introduced that are swoon-worthy and very, very nice. And on the whole, I gave Heartless a 3.5 to 3.75 stars. The third book I read in September was The Other Inheritance by Rebecca J. Cox. It was my indie pick of the month, which is a new thing that I'm going to start doing because I really want to just get more indie books onto my lists of books read because I just keep buying them and not reading them. So, The Other Inheritance by Rebecca J. Cox is about an ordinary girl that learns that she is not so ordinary. Gotta love him. So she discovers that she has powers and that she's actually connected to another world called the Other. I loved the world that was created. There are some very interesting aspects that exist in the Other. It is very much an elemental powers sort of world with earth, wind, fire, control, magic, just trees doing things that trees don't do, ground splitting open. It is a very epic, well thought out fantasy. I really like the characters. They have a lot of whimsical moments, some funny banter back and forth. There is some grounding to the main character that I love, like she's not just a, oh my goodness, who am I, helpless heroine. She actually has her own story and life before this world comes and like knocks her off her feet. She has her own story, her own things happening, her own passions, you know, she likes kickboxing. So I really appreciated that the main character was a full rounded person before she just gets taken on this journey and to discover who she is. You know, she kind of already has some kind of element of who she is, which I really appreciated in this book. Overall, I gave The Other Inheritance a 4 out of 5 stars, and I would recommend it to anyone who loves fast-paced stories with action, a little bit of romance, and very high stakes. And that is all for the books I munched in September, and I will be filling you all in very soon on the books that I munched in October! And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please consider giving it a thumbs up, and if you like all my other videos, then please consider subscribing! And until next time, I'll see you. Bye!